Iram di ira hanaina ora la aimaiawete irgai ie ira enem eg Ælis ta em I weka. Yo liwaite ta eg emte ta emko ta yoka ira bo iu. Let's dive right in, people. When it comes to describing parts of the human or animal body in Ælis, there are two categories of words to do so. Some words are created in a systematic way, puzzling together root words to describe the body parts. And then, there are a handful of proper root words that each describe a body part. But having to cram new words is boring, so let's look at the systematically created words first. The star player in the topic of anatomy is the root word It means body, but also in a broader sense it can mean shape or form, a physical body, or geometric three-dimensional figure. In terms of anatomy, the body consists of three main sections. These sections are identified by putting a liska before the root word Aium, eum, ium. These sections run from head to toe. Therefore, aium, the first section, is the head. Eum is the part of the body to which the head connects, the upper body or the equivalent in animals. Ium is the rest of the body. For people, it goes from the waist down. These are the three sections. Next, bodies have limbs. Since the head doesn't have any limbs, we'll look at eum first. To describe a limb, we need the root word to, and again, we're going to connect liska to it in order to identify the limbs. Aito is the first limb, eto is the second limb, and ito is the third limb. Now, the addition of liska to the root word to points to something like a degree of ramifications, like a tree with branches. So if we compare the torso of a human or animal body to the stem of the tree, then all branches that connect directly to the stem are the first limb. And so, aito eum is the first limb of the upper body. It is the limb that connects directly to the torso. That is an arm in humans or a front leg in quadrupeds. It can also be a wing in birds. The second degree limb is a ramification of the first. In other words, it is the limb that connects to the first limb. And the extremities of your arms are hands, or in animals, front paws. For ito, we continue the logic. The extremities attached to your hands are fingers. Now, there is also ato eum, using the liska for 0. Using ato means as much as the nil limb, or simply not a limb. So you can use this to describe what your arms connect to, the torso. We can project this same pattern onto the lower body, so we turn eum into ium, getting us 4 new words. Ato ium, the waist or pelvis. Aito ium, the leg or rear legs in quadruped animals. Eto ium, the feet or rear paws. Ito ium, the toes. Next, we're going to introduce the root word ru. It is used to describe joints. We're back at the upper body here, and we're going to blend the words for arm and torso together by playing around with the liska. We've seen that you can connect liska in the number system to create numbers for 10 and higher, in the personal pronoun system to create what I call complex pronouns, in the color system to create derived colors, and, surprise surprise, also here. If we put a and I together, we create the word aito eum, which is one unified word that describes torso and arm. This word in itself is quite useless unless we put ru in front of it. We now have a word that we can use to describe the joint that connects your arm to your torso. That is a shoulder. And with this insight, we've opened up an entire world of possibilities. Ru ai eto eum is the joint that connects the first limb to the second degree limb, your arm and your hand. This is the wrist. Now, the arm itself also has a joint. To describe it, we don't need 2 liska, but just 1. The joint of the first degree limb is your elbow. Let's project this pattern onto the lower body again, and we have 3 new words. Ru aito ium, the knee. Ru ai eto ium, the ankle. Ru a aito ium, your hip or groin. We can also use ru to connect body sections to one another, without the necessity of using the root word to. As such, we can describe the joint that connects the head to the upper body. Ru ai eum is the neck. But we're not done yet. We're going to throw another root word into the mix as well. This root word is bo, which means part or component. Again, we can prefix liska to it to designate which part we're talking about. For example, the arm consists of two parts. If we create the word ai bo, ai to eum, then that's the first part of the first limb of the upper body. Following the ramification logic, when you extend your arms and follow along from the center of the body outwards, then the first part of the arm is your upper arm. Same logic for the lower body. From the waist down, the first part of the leg is aibo aito ium, the upper leg or thigh. The second part of the first limb of the upper body is your lower arm, and the second part of the first limb of the lower body is your lower leg. Now let's take this last word and push the boundaries a bit. Just be creative. Use logic. Why not prefix the word an ida ira, which means the front side, to the lower leg? An ida ira ebo aito ium is the front side of the second part of the first limb of the lower body, and that's your shin bone. Consequently, the back of your lower leg is your calf. Let's push some more, I'm having fun. Look at the word for shoulder, ru a aito eum. If we have joints that can bend more in one way than the other, then we're going to use the words for inside and outside, an oda aira and an oda ira respectively. The inside of the shoulder in Ælis describes the side of the joint that the body is most flexible in. So, an oda aira ru a aito eum, the armpit. The outside of the shoulder is the actual shoulder, the shoulder pad. Same logic for any body part. If you visualize a knee, then it can clearly bend one way. This is the inside of the knee cavity. The outside is the knee cap. Now look at your hands. You can form a fist by bending your fingers one way, but not the other. So the inside of your hand is your hand palm, and the outside is the back of your hand. Then, let's make words for our fingers. Let's keep things simple and logical. We're just going to number them. So we use aika for the first finger. This is the thumb. But wait, we've run into a morphological grammatical issue. Ito aika means the first third degree limb, and therefore ito aika eum could mean first third degree limb of the upper body. But on the other hand, aika eum means one upper body, and so the same word could mean the fingers of one upper body. We want the first meaning though, and therefore we'll need to rely on some partition magic like I've explained in quite a few of the previous videos. So we'll infix a partition marker to indicate which parts belong together. For example, the target marker yi. We now have a word that means third degree limb number 1 that corresponds to the upper body. And now we have an unambiguous word for thumb. With the same logic, we can derive the names for the other fingers. Ito eka ji eum, index finger. Ito ika ji eum, middle finger. Ito oka ji eum, ring finger. Ito waka ji eum, little finger or pinky. Apart from the systematic taxonomic approach, there are also a few proper root words to describe some body parts. Let's have a look. I invite you to try and memorize them. Mouth. On, eye. Ot, tooth. This word can also be a verb, in which case it means to bite or to chew. Next, or, ear. Op, tongue. Off, nose. There is a tip for remembering the 4 root words I've highlighted. These 4 have counterparts with ewo instead of oaya, in other words with the letter e instead of o. These root words designate the equivalent senses. En means vision or sight. On means eye. Er means audio or sound. Or means ear. Ep means taste. Op means tongue. F means perfume or smell. Of means nose. Continuing. Os, bone or skeleton. Ur, heart. Us, liver. Tin, nail or claw. Ze, horn or tail. If you connect this word to ayum, the head, then you get ze ayum, a horn, or also deer antlers. If you connect it to the lower body, then ze ium is a tail. Then, so, skin. Ba, blood. Ba can also mean sap in plants and trees. Bi, hair or fur. Note that this word can't be used for bird feathers. There is a proper root word for that, fi. Finally, the last root word I'd like you to learn is fe. It means muscle, flesh, or meat. Have a second to look at them. Okay, let's see how many you remembered. Mouth. Eye. On. And en is to see, remember? Tooth. Ot. Ear. Or. Or is related to er, sound. Tongue. Op. Op is linked to ep, taste. Nose. Of. Of relates to f, smell. Bone. Os. Heart. Ur. Liver. Us. Nail or claw. Tin. Tail or horn. Ze. Skin. Zo. Animal blood or plant sap. Ba. Human hair or animal fur. Bi. And finally, flesh or muscle. Fe. Congratulations, you've expanded your Ælis vocabulary once again. I hope you had fun watching. If so, leave a comment. It's always nice to read a nice comment. You know, an extra motivation to keep doing these. Should you have any questions or suggestions, let me know. And if not, I hope to see you again next time. Hanaina ora to all of you.